Good morning, everybody, and welcome to HJ Goes Live. I'm Charlotte, editor of Hairdressers Journal, and today I'm joined by the wonderful Helen Ward of the Salon Association and Sheila Abrahams, MBE, head of the Freelance Hairdressers Association. It is wonderful to have you both with us today.
Lovely to be here. Thank you for your time, Charlotte.
Thank you for both of your time as well.
Nice to be here, Charlotte.
Absolute jet setters at the moment, so we are really thankful that we've actually managed to get a time with both of you together, and we're going to be chatting all about the Cut to the VAT campaign, the proposed 10% cut that the industry is backing at the moment, and we're days away from the spring budget being announced on the 6th of March, dates for everyone's diaries, and there's a real kind of call to arms and action in the air at the moment. The Salon Employers Association has done a survey that found 1 in 5 salon owners have admitted being close to mental and emotional breakdown. And I know some of you might have seen Toby Dicker on the ITV News, and on that particular programme, he was sharing that 24% of personal bankruptcies in the UK are actually attributed to our sector, which is an insane stat. I just think you both agree. So to kick things off, I hear we've got a bit of exclusive news to Hairdressers Journal, and it's that the newly founded, now let me get this right, British Hairdressers Consortium includes both Sheila's Freelance Hairdressers Association and Helen's Salon Employers Association. Tell me all about this.
Shall I start, Sheila?
Okay, Helen, yeah, over to you.
Well, we came together, we invited everybody, all the trade associations to join us. We came together probably about a year ago now, and we initially called ourselves the PCCO, Personal Care Cross-Sector. As you can imagine, that's a bit of a mouthful. So we've changed it. So we are now the British Hairdressing Consortium, because we feel that all of our organisations, and that includes the Men's Hairdressing Federation, the Hair and Barber Council, and the Fellowship for British Hairdressing, represent a part of the sector that is unique to them. But if you add us all up, we represent 50,000 hair professionals working in the UK. So there's no one who is arguably larger than us or has a more diverse representation. We decided to change our name because it was just too much of a mouthful. So we're now the British Hairdressing Consortium. Thank you. The reason I stumble on that is because we had so many names going around the table, and we literally only decided like 2 days ago, didn't we, Sheila?
Seriously, so that's breaking news. Breaking news right here, right?
Absolutely.
Brill. So tell me all about the current Cut the VAT campaign. What are you guys asking for, and how are we rating the chances of success for this campaign?
I think, Helen, this is another one for you. I've been away. You're really more on the ball with this.
Oh, Sheila, MBE, which can I just say, who deserves that honour more in our industry than the gorgeous Sheila Abraham? So proud of her.
Thank you very much.
She's got her outfit to get now, though, by the way, for the investiture. So, well, the chances are, we think, slim, to be honest. We got the nod that other sectors who were in the service part of trade were going for this 10% cut, i.e. hospitality. Now, remember, before we were the personal care sector, we were part of hospitality, and arguably could have got all the tax breaks and the VAT breaks that they enjoyed through COVID, which is very frustrating because we wanted our own sector, but when we got it, it didn't actually service as we wanted it to in terms of VAT. So we got this nod that, you know, if you want to push for a VAT cut, do it now. So we've launched this campaign. The chances are slim for any sector getting a VAT cut. So it's not just us. So we think the chances are remote. But I think what it's brought to light and what we talk about as the BHC now is the fact that, you know, VAT affects everyone, whether you're a freelancer, whether you're, you know, arguably less as a freelancer, which Sheila will go on and explain to us. But, you know, we need to, VAT on art for our industry is a very unfair tax. And I will talk a little bit about more about how it works, because I think there's a lack of understanding about VAT across the board. I mean, it's not a very sexy subject, let's be honest. I mean, it's very dry. We're going to try and make it sexy.
We've put our lipstick on and we're making VAT sexy, okay?
So over to you, Sheila. But yeah, I mean, that's from our point of view for the Salon Employers Association.
Yeah, well, the thing is, obviously, with the freelancers, it won't be that many that reach the 85,000 point where you have to pay VAT. But really and truly, one thing we need to think about as an industry is that we are all, well, we represent all the hairdressers. And whether you're working inside a salon or outside a salon, you're a stylist, and all of this affects all of us. We joined with the other organisations because we need one voice for our industry. The freelancers are now a recognised part of the industry. And I think going forward, one of the things that's really important and worrying is the future of our industry. And I think that's where we are actually coming from. I know VAT has blurred things at the moment, but overall we are concerned. Now, the word is that about 60%, even more than 60% of the workforce is currently a freelance sector. Now, this is not right for our industry. We need our salons. We need new blood coming in, and we need them to have salons to go into to work. So whilst you're always going to have freelancers, because let's face it, we're an entrepreneurial group of people, number one. And as your life goes on, your working life changes, and as hairdressers, it's the perfect opportunity. You start off in a salon, then you maybe get involved, you have children, you can work for yourself around your children, and then you might go back into the salon again. You can't speak to any one hairdresser that's never done a bit of self-employment or, you know, worked outside of the salon for them, or work for themselves at some point in their career. And this is why I say it's all about the industry. It's all about us pulling together for the future of our industry. And that's really where I come from.
Brilliant.
Helen?
Couldn't agree more. I mean, we were just having a chat this morning. I mean, my mum did exactly that. She trained in a shop, did her apprenticeship back in the day. When she had us, she left to go freelance, then she went back to work, then she went back into a shop, then she went freelance again. You know, it's true. But I think the big thing for us is, as we say, you know, unless you run a PAYE scheme, you cannot employ apprentices, and apprenticeships are on such a decline. You know, we're now down to, apparently current statistics say, only about an intake of 5,000 a year. Well, we were at one point, you know, 19,000 odd back in the day, and that wasn't long ago. So unless we work to try and level things up tax wise, where will we be in terms of skills in 10 years time? And I think that is our joint aim to really, and I think the other thing to say is the BHC, all of us are working at grassroots. You know, we're not a fancy, you know, we are working at grassroots, representing the people that are asking us to be their voice and the very real concerns that they have. You know, we all have our day jobs and we all work at grassroots, and that's the key thing. I think probably there's been a lot of misleading stuff in the press about the fact that the industry is in growth, and we're very vehemently against any press releases that go out or any stats that get sent especially to the government, that are misleading, because we've got to be careful that we're talking about hair. We're not talking about lipstick sales. We're not talking about beauty retail. So beauty retail might be in growth, and but hairdressing is not. And it's changed very much. And I think there's also been a bit of backlash against us saying, well, things have changed, change is good. Since lockdown, people want to work from home. We get all of that. We totally understand that. Freelancers especially, I think, do such a fantastic job. They really do, and my mum was one, so I'm obviously defensive. But they do a very much needed job. Going out to homes and things like that, and some work from home as well, and we're not against that. We think that's great, whatever floats your boat, however you want to work, but things have to be fair, and we have to make sure that, and I think our common aim is against disguised employment, because that can never be a good thing. If someone is employing you and they are disguising it and telling you're self-employed and not paying over the tax that they're due to pay for you on you, how can that be a good thing? So we need to be really mindful that disguised employment is a real threat to our industry.
Can I just say, Helen, with that, I think for the freelancers, they don't always recognise that situation. And we've been telling our members, and we've been putting it out there, that it's fine if you want to work in a salon 2-3 days a week, whatever you want to do. But it must be, as you are self-employed, it's part of your business. And the only thing you're doing is standing in those premises. The whole of your business is your business. You've got to take your own money. You've got to be responsible for that. It's all your own stock that you work with. Everything that you would do outside of the salon is just brought into the salon, and that way you're working correctly. You cannot be given any orders or asked by the salon owner to come in at 9 and leave at 4. If it suits you, you can say, look, I know I've rented it, I'm 2 days a week, but next week I won't be in at all. They can't say anything. You are your own business. You work your own hours. You pay your rent for the space only. You can't have anything to do with the salon. You can't use the reception. You can't use the juniors, because you are your own business. And providing it's done like that, which works beautifully for lots and lots of people, it's the right way to do it. And that's what I think sometimes people don't always understand.
It's about this education, isn't it? And you're clearly both you're united, even though you have different aims for your parties, but you're united in that. It's so encouraging to see and hear, because in our industry it always feels like there's a divide, and
it does. You're right.
We don't want that divide. We want to pull together. We are all in this together. As I said before, it doesn't matter where you stand and do your work. If you're a stylist, if you're a hairdresser, that's it. You're a hairdresser, and this is all about you.
Brilliant. So we've already talked a little bit about the issues that members are facing on VAT, but Helen, did you want to kind of understand a little, talk about a little bit more about the misunderstandings on VAT, and any more kind of education on VAT that people listening might be really welcome to hear?
Yes, and I just think, I try and always explain VAT when I talk about it in just really like 7-year-old terms. If a 7-year-old wouldn't understand it, it's too complicated. So VAT is a tax that you pay on each stage when you produced something. So in America, when you go and you buy a handbag and then you go to the till and you think it's $50, but you go to the till and they put the sales tax on. Well, when we first had VAT, that was how it used to sort of work. Everything it's £10 plus VAT. And that was back in the day. And the threshold wasn't something, when we started out 31 years ago, it wasn't something to avoid. It was something that when you reached the threshold, you would have to then add VAT to your prices. And that VAT was passed over on the bill to your client. That has all been very much lost. And technically, you shouldn't avoid the threshold because you should just be able to add 20% to your bills. Of course, it doesn't work like that because people are saying, I can't put my prices up by 20%. And also, I can't reclaim any input tax on this. I'm paying VAT on my output, what I sell, but I can't reclaim anything back on my input. Now, if you're making a pair of shoes, you know, the person that makes the shoes buys the leather, they pay VAT on it. I make the shoes, I sell them to the shoe shop, I pay VAT on my bit. I reclaim what I've paid back, but I charge it. And it works like that. It goes in and it goes out. It goes in and it goes out. The problem in our sector is that we can't really reclaim very much VAT. So we're paying 20% as if it's a pair of shoes, but we're reclaiming the goods, the VAT on the goods that we use to create the haircut. Well, the goods that you use are going to be like 10% of your income tops. So there's not really, and that's why people want to avoid it, because they're charging it, they can't put their prices up to absorb the cost, but they want to avoid having to charge it in the first place because they can't get anything back. So is that clear? Does that make sense?
It has definitely, yeah, illuminated things in my head, and having those clear examples I think are really helpful.
Okay, so going on from that then, if you can't reclaim anything back, why would you want to suddenly have to pay 20% over on your income? So when hospitality got their VAT cut, it was quite interesting because at no point did your meal out become 20%, 10% less expensive. It was never passed on to the consumer. It was just like, oh, great, we don't have to pay 10% tax on this now. We were only paying 10%, so 20%. So I think this misnomer around VAT and how it's meant to work, it's just been forgotten in its entirety. The other thing I need to highlight, and I really want to highlight, is there is a third option for us. So there's not just staying under the threshold or going over it. There is a third option. If your turnover is 150,000 a year or less, you can opt for paying, you can choose to pay the flat rate of VAT, which for our sector is only 13%. So it's 7% less. But what you can't do is you can't reclaim anything back on any of the bills, any VAT you get charged. But that might work for those individuals who are struggling to stay beneath the threshold and think that, you know, they would never take more than 150. That is a third way. I don't understand why organisations in our sector aren't talking about that more. Because if I was, going to go over the threshold, I would be very interested to think that that would be a way where I'm not paying as much VAT. I might not be able to claim it back, but we can't claim back much anyway.
Yeah. And Sheila, you mentioned that the threshold is something that a lot of your members might not be reaching, but what kind of, how might it affect them, if any?
At this moment in time, I can't see that it will affect them because, as I say, not many are earning £85,000, which is the threshold. But the other thing that I'd like to say is whilst I was away, I was very aware of the cauldron that was bubbling away in social media because people were hearing bits and pieces and, as always, Chinese whispers, putting together stories because they didn't have true facts. And the number of people, my members in particular, who were very, very distressed and panicking. I mean, fortunately, they've got me. And I knew what was going on and I could tell them exactly so that they had the right information. But it did distress me to see what was going on social media because it was just awful, the upset that was being caused, and had no need to be like that, to be quite honest.
And let's face it, if you've got a high street shop and you have got employees and you are taking on trainees, then, the threshold of 85,000 is only about £1,600 a week. Well, if you've got a high street shop, the chances of you being able to stay under that £1,600 a week are quite slim, because, you know, even if you've got 2 or 3 staff, yes, our sector is made up of SMEs, you know, small and micro businesses that employ under less than 5 staff, but still, you've got to be going, you know, it's going to be quite hard, I would imagine, not everywhere, but, you know, to stay under that £1,600. So, you know, the reform of that we want, we just want to make sure everything's fair. We want to make sure that if you're working, doing hair, whichever way you're doing it, that everything is okay. And I think there was a survey recently that was pertaining to say that we were in growth because they'd used ONS data to count the number of doors. Well, you've only got to work out that, you know, there's a massive increase in illegitimate shops opening on the high street in barbering. I mean, that's fact. And some of those are a front for human trafficking and all sorts of things that we know about. Most of them are legitimate, don't get me wrong, but some of them aren't. So it's very wrong to count those number of doors, just literally go, right, okay.
Success. Yeah.
And make out that we're all okay and we're all in growth. And the problem is, and why we want to be one voice is, if the government are hearing information that is incorrect, they will not help us. So we need to make sure that there's things are explained. When we're talking about beauty, we're talking about cosmetics, not what we do.
Yeah.
And make things very, very clear. Of course, they only want to hear good news. They're the government. They want to hear everything's wonderful, but it's not.
And talk to me a little bit about your short-term and long-term objectives for VAT reform.
Well, obviously, short-term, sorry, Sheila, I'm jumping in
that's
again,
okay.
but I
That's
just
okay.
want to talk about the VAT bit, and then perhaps you can talk about the long-term ones, which we've touched on a bit. Apprenticeships are critical, and we all care passionately about them. And we are so united on that, and how we safeguard them, how we grow them, how we get them back up to where they were before. Because this decline is really serious now. We're not talking like, you know, 10% or 20%. So I think that's something we care about. The VAT, obviously, we wanted to get behind it. If we thought there was a chance, we owed it to everybody to try and get that VAT cut. Everyone. It's looking unlikely, unfortunately. But you know, we don't care. We'll always try it. If somebody tells us there might be a way you can get X, Y, or Z, we will be there and we'll be talking about it for everybody that we are a voice of.
And so will the campaign continue after the spring budget?
Yes, definitely, because as a consortium, we can discuss around the table different ways that we feel we can help the industry. It's nothing that anybody needs to be afraid of, because we are working for the benefit of everyone in our industry. And fortunately, because of this campaign that we've had going, we may not succeed this time, but with Toby Dicker, we have definitely got the ear of government on our side in a big way. They have put themselves in, the group has put itself in a position now where the government, different MPs are listening to us, admitting to us they didn't understand our industry, they didn't understand our plight, and the more we can make them understand and learn about us, the more hope we've got going forward is that we can come up with a solution that will benefit everybody across the board.
Couldn't put it better myself.
Thank you.
And Helen, I know you wanted to explain an example that works well in Ireland that maybe could be something that we could.
Yeah, well, in Ireland, and it's been very, very successful there, and it's actually got rid of a lot of, you know, we have lots of friends over there in SEA. They have told us that it's got rid of the black market pretty much overnight. And what they've done there, they campaigned for a split rate of VAT. So they're paying, it was 10% on the actual service part, and then they were paying the full rate of VAT on any sales that they made. And obviously, you know, with online, you know, the sales part, sadly, of our businesses as hair salons is very slim now. So that was a really, really helpful boost. And, you know, there's examples of that everywhere. You know, in Greece, in Cyprus, you know, so it can be done. Reform can be done. And I think the government really have got to understand, for us, that, and this is why it's hard to get them to understand about the VAT, because anything that's specific to one particular sector is difficult for them to deal with. And which is why we said, right, chop the VAT to, you know, 10%, let's go for that, because there's an in and we might get this. But long term, the reform that we need to make is we need to look at how we can create some sort of split rate. There's been a lot of talk about the smoothing mechanism for VAT as well. Well, we had a Zoom collect from the Hair and Barber Council, Gareth, Barry, all of us. Sheila was in India, but we had this fantastic Zoom last week, and they were saying, you know, heads up on the smoothing mechanism. It's too complicated. All these different rates and tiers and things like that, it's too complicated. They're not interested in that. They need things to be really straightforward for everyone. And I think, as I say, there's so much misunderstanding around VAT as it is. You know, unless you can explain it really simply, it just frightens everybody to death. You know, smoothing mechanism, how does that work? What does it mean? How do I do it? What, you know, how much admin is that going to create? So I don't think that is something they would go for either. So, but we will never stop campaigning for anything that we believe is right. And it's so nice. You know, I've been in this industry since I was 16, which is a bloody long time now, unfortunately. And it's so nice to see us all working together. I mean, we've known each other for years, but to work together and actually just say, right, okay, let's find where we have an aim that can suit everybody, from the creative to the freelance to the barbers to everybody. And it's just been a lot of you know, we've got a lot of work to do, but at least we're on the right path.
Amazing.
Yeah, and can I just add to that, Helen, that the as I say, the cauldron that was bubbling over on social media, there is nothing changing right now, nothing changing that anybody needs to be afraid of. Things will remain the same, but you have the knowledge that you've got a good group, a good organisation, a consortium that is looking at the long term. It won't upset businesses. It won't start costing people more money that I think they're afraid of. It will be nothing will change overnight, but we will work slowly and solidly till we find a way that works for everybody and doesn't put anybody out of business, but hopefully makes life easier for everybody. That's what we're looking for.
Absolutely. The last thing we want to do is to increase costs for anybody. I mean, that would just be the antithesis of what our objectives are.
Yeah. Oh, honestly, it's so encouraging to have two people on the call that, you know, that organizations might have different priorities and different day-to-day issues, but coming together is one voice and unified. It's really amazing to see. Before we leave, is there anything else that you want to throw out there that the BHC is going to be tackling in the months to come? Any ways that people can get involved, get their voices heard?
Well, we're soon going to have our website up and running. We also want to be clear that we'll just put information out. You know, there's no fee to belong. You know, there's no payment. There's no nothing. We just want to represent the sector and become a real voice that is coherent. So we will have platforms. We'll have our own Instagram and website and everything where we want to hear what you want us to say. We want to hear what your concerns are. We want to address them. And, you know, yeah, there was a social media, you know, a bit of a backlash because of concerns about things that could change. But I think, you know, at the end of the day, there was also a lot of support from everybody who was saying, you know, great, if you can get us a VAT cut, that's brilliant. And you know, again, we just want to educate, we want to inform, we want to make sure that we are seen as the main voice, because no one else represents a more diverse cross section of our industry. So, and I want to know what Sheila's going to wear for her investiture.
Yes, me
What Sheila's
too.
going to wear.
Any options, Sheila? Maybe run us through a couple now.
Well, I've only just heard when the actual investiture will be, and it's going to be in April. So I'm now in panic mode totally.
So
I haven't
Got to be a
got
hat.
clue. Sorry?
Got to be a hat, Sheila.
Absolutely. I love my hats.
Well, you must keep us posted on the outfit.
Yeah, we want pictures. We want pictures.
Yeah, live stream, please.
Pictures you will have.
Maybe we could go live on the day.
Oh.
We could.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? But yeah, so yeah, I am a bit focused on that at the moment, I must admit.
Absolutely. And yeah, well, congratulations again on the amazing.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But
So
I would
well
like to
deserved.
say, I would like to say to everybody out there, you know, calm down. Nothing's changing overnight. And rest assured that now we have got this consortium working together from every aspect for every hairdresser. Eventually, we will sort something, but it won't be without their knowledge. It won't be a bang that changes everything. It will be the way forward that, as Helen said, having a website that people can come to and give us their thoughts and give us their I was going problems. I don't mean problems, because with problems we'll have the solutions. We will find the solutions as we go forward. But we want to work for everybody. That's the sole purpose of this, and the importance of one strong voice that can speak to government and be listened to. That's what we want.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time today, both of you. Enjoy your travels, wherever you're off to next. And we wait with bated breath for Sheila's outfit.
Of course.
But yeah, thank you. And thank you everyone for watching. And if you've got any comments, comment below. I'm sure both Sheila and Helen will pick up any comments. We'll forward them to them. If you've got any questions, any worries, rest assured they will be answered and passed on. And thank you again.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Have a great day. Bye, guys.
Take care. Bye.
Bye. Bye.